Hey, good afternoon and welcome to EliteHealthOnline.com. My name is Clay. I'm my business partner here and co-owner of Elite Health Online, Boomer Cornwell.
How you doing? Thank you.
We have guest Shane Russ from Avexifel and Pharmaceo. Thank you for being here, Shane.
Glad to be here.
So as always, quick disclaimer, everything we'll be talking about today is for educational purposes only. Make sure you're seeking attention from a provider that is capable of helping you. We'll be happy to help you out at Elite Health Online and share more about that at the close of this podcast. But today we're talking about neuropathy and one of the therapies that we're offering, ARA-290. Shane, if you would, step back and help the audience understand the conditions and disease states that ARA-290 is used for, and who would benefit from ARA-290.
Yeah. So right now there's some things that they're being reviewed and studied, but let's talk about the two main purposes for people with symptoms concerning neuropathy and sarcoidosis. Right. So a lot of the preclinical trials, a lot of the review and literature that's out there medically anyway, is showing a huge and tremendous benefit to people suffering from those ailments.
Okay. Shane, give us just a quick overview of sarcoidosis. I think most of us know what neuropathy is. We discussed that in our last podcast, but give us a quick educational piece on sarcoidosis.
Sure. So sarcoidosis is a body's hyperinflammatory state. Think of it as an attack on the body that's abnormal, that causes painful kind of bumps and sores that can show themselves or reveal themselves on your epidermis, your skin in places. It can be on the endothelial cells, which is just think of it as the lining of your organs. And I think the number one organ affected by this would be the lungs. So people can have a shortness of breath. They can have painful inhalation. Deep chest breathing can be painful at times. So it's not fun. It's not fun, and it's important again for these people to seek help and hopefully calm down the inflammatory state with some medicine. ARA-290 would be a more natural option. Although there are alternatives that Western medicine, is widely available that people can take.
Shane, what are those traditional therapies that maybe some of today's listeners who are seeking out help, what are they traditionally being treated with?
Well, for neuropathy, it can be anything like traditional pain meds, right? We're talking about opioids or narcotics. It can be a few other cocktails of drugs, but let me just start with the most common. With these pain meds, we all know they work, right? Opioids, they work. Unless you have an allergy, you take them. And if you do, you take something like a fentanyl, okay, which is still going to have an action on the body and an opioid receptor. When you do this, you have a long list of side effects that are unwanted. Most commonly, you lose sexual desire or sexual performance. For males, this can come in the form of erectile dysfunction. It can come in loss of sleep. It can come in narcolepsy in general. It can actually be an added sedative. It also decreases your performance. Think about people as athletes in the gym. You're actually taking away from everything you're putting in as far as time goes and effort in the gym when you take painkillers religiously. So while I know that people deal with chronic pain in different ways, and some people really do have a bad threshold or a low threshold for it, you also perpetuate the chronic need to take pain medication when you take it. It actually lowers the body's pain threshold over time, which means you perceive pain to be higher than it actually is. So it's a detriment, right? It's kind of a catch-22. You start taking it because you need it, and then you almost become dependent on it. And we all know that the opioid crisis can cause a dependency or an addiction level.
So everything I'm hearing you say there, Shane, is this: we're not solving the problem. We're just kicking the can down the road and ultimately kind of just masking the issue. Contrast though, ARA-290. I know you've gone over how it works in other podcasts, but quickly, kind of contrast what ARA-290 is doing versus just the masking the problem.
Sure. So EPO, and I won't go into it too much detail, but erythropoietin is important, right? We need that. It has an inverse relationship, like we've discussed, with tumor necrosis factor. So you've got something that's anti-inflammatory in the body. You've got something that's pro-inflammatory, right? So any cytokine can be in the pro-inflammatory state. You have to balance this. When it gets imbalanced, you're going to be in pain essentially on either end. So perfect balance is what most people can deal with life and bruise their knee and move on, right? But people that are pro-inflammatory, that bruised knee may hurt them a lot longer than the average person, right? Same difference here with people with neuropathy, but in general, EPO or the trial they did on recombinant EPO, while it's effective at calming down inflammation or a hyperinflammatory state that's causing the pain for these patients with neuropathy, the problem is over time, you are thickening your blood and causing some things you don't want, right? So ARA came about and they derived it from EPO to find something that would work similarly, but not inclusively for blood and plasma. So we don't have those issues. And the beauty is it still binds to the innate repair receptor, right? Which essentially
Mhm.
just heals tissues and it reduces inflammation and it activates healing throughout the body, which is what we're after.
So
Yeah.
it's like all peptides. All peptides are very specific. They have a very specific purpose. Um, so therefore, there's not a lot of side effects to the rest of the body and things that you experience. But talk to us about the time frame that patients should expect. To maybe see results. They start on ARA-290 because they have some of these conditions we're talking about. They're experiencing some of the symptoms you're talking about. They get on this. Tell us, first 30 days, 60 days. What do patients typically see? And then is this an indefinite therapy or is there an endpoint?
Yeah. A lot to cover on that, but I'll tell you the cool part and the short answer about when is it effective? How long should they be on it? Everyone that was put through trial, even animals, but humans obviously have the human response. They all saw benefit in 28 days. That can vary person to person, right? So think of it as a progressed disease state. Someone who has severe neuropathy, it may take more time, right? For someone who's just developing neuropathy and they catch it sooner, they can start repairing that nerve damage and that tissue damage and healing the inflammation. The key thing is, sorry guys, getting a call that interrupted this.
Very fun.
Sorry about
Mhm.
that. Back to it though. The key thing here is if you don't tackle the inflammatory state that you're going through, you are allowing your body to experience damage. It will continue, right? So whatever tissue it's affecting in the endothelial or epidermis or the nerve in this case, it will continue to progress and cause damage, and you're going to lose that cellular communication you don't want. So it's important to tackle it. It's important to take care of it. So in
Sounds like
28
it's
days, you'll
important to
see
tackle
some.
it early, not put this off until it's unmanageable, but get
Mm.
started early.
Well, it's also the primary difference too when you talked about earlier in doing something like an ARA-290 therapy versus a painkiller, which again is just blocking the signal that our body is naturally giving us, which is telling us something is damaged, we have to address it. Right. So as to your earlier point, if we don't do something like an ARA-290 therapy, the problem will eventually get worse. Clearly. So obviously,
Correct.
this
Yeah.
is this is safe for long-term use. Then is where you're going with this.
Yep. Yeah. People can take it for short stints and then taper off and check to see if the symptoms have been alleviated. Or people, so it can be take as needed essentially, or it can be something that's a chronic therapy line. And people can take it indefinitely, right? Because it has proven to be safe and effective. We don't have any data to show that there's toxicology that builds up over time. I mean, as a matter of fact, we quickly found out that recombinant EPO can be damaging again, the alternative, right? This being a component of that, not binding and doing things with blood, pretty much makes it safe all year round.
Yep. So
So,
Shane,
so
I gotta be. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, well, I was going to touch on the side effects for just a minute. Based on what you're saying, it doesn't seem to be any side effects to this.
None that are reported that be significant. There can be some muscle twitching, like nerve twitching, very rare, albeit. But think of it as no different than, I mean, I'm sure we've all experienced this, or anyone who's been an athlete playing sports, going to the gym. When you've overstimulated or overactivated a muscle, the neuromuscular connection, I'm sure you've had a shoulder twitch or a pec twitch or a calf twitch or anything like that in your lifetime. And if you haven't, consider yourself lucky. Although it doesn't hurt. The point is, it happens and it's short lived, right? But consider that a good sign because
Mm-hmm.
it does signify that repair is happening. And
Right.
that's what you want.
That's a good thing. It's kind of like when you have an itching wound, it tells you that there's something going on there. I think that's
There
awesome.
you go.
Shane, so out of curiosity, I know how a lot of people think, well, I've never heard about this from my provider. You know, I'm out here researching, looking for help. I'm looking for a solution. Why has my doctor not told me about this? Um, can you kind of shed some light on that? I know you guys obviously are out there talking about this to different providers, but Elite Health Online is usually on the cutting edge, bringing on new therapies and talking to pharmacies like you guys. But maybe help us understand why someone hadn't heard about this before.
Sure. Yeah. So a lot of what we do is considered natural, right? We're trying to optimize the body and use the body to really repair itself and create a youthful state, a regressive state. We're going back in time, essentially, right? Proverbially, to just make us feel good, to have good sexual performance, to have good sleep, etc. What Big Pharma doesn't like is that we go about it in a way that is natural. Therefore, they can't license it, right? They
Mm-hmm.
can't own it. They can't own the drug. They can't patent it. They can't make a version of what we do and sell it to people and charge hundreds to thousands of dollars for these treatments.
Mm-hmm.
And rack up our insurance bills, and the list goes on, right? So, politically speaking, leaving it all out, you get what I'm saying here is
Yep.
there's big pharma, and then there's companies and health organizations like y'all that support and advocate the person to do this naturally or as natural as possible
Yep.
and really just feel good, be healthy so you're not sick. You're not needing to take the extraneous drugs and the alternatives out there that we know have known side effects
Mm-hmm.
and whether it's small or big, a known toxicology with every drug that's been patented because it's not natural. So our body has a problem in trying to process and cleanse certain things that are either additives or non-additives in that pill or shot or cream that we've been taking. Whereas what we do again is either going to be natural or look natural to the body so that our body can clear it in enzymatic processes down the line later on.
That's awesome. That's really good stuff. Really good stuff. Well, Shane, that's why we're here. We're here to help people with these, from everything from hormone replacement therapy, getting back on their game, and help people live long, healthy lives. So exciting stuff. Well, hey, Boomer, why don't you tell folks how they can interact with us and get some help from neuropathy or anything else that they're dealing with in the area of HRT and wellness, and
Yeah,
go from there.
certainly. So it's real easy. It's you just go to the website www.elitehealthonline.com. You can take a look at this product, ARA-290, as well as every other product that we offer from Pharmakeo and everything else that we do in terms of services and providers, laboratory. It's real easy. You just click on book telehealth appointment. That'll get you set up with a lab process where you go to LabCorp, get your blood drawn. We do a very simple panel. We don't test for a whole lot of things. Everything comes back to us fairly quickly, and within about a 3 to 5 day time period, you can be speaking with one of our providers online and then get this and any other therapy that you need in conjunction with peptides or HRT therapy, whatever it is that you need, delivered to your door within about 48 hours. So again, www.elitehealthonline.com.
Awesome. Thanks, Boomer. Thank you, Shane. Appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you, Shane.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.